Yeah, why don't we jump in? I wonder what happened to, I saw Jennifer was here and hasn't been able to get back on. So hopefully she's not having technical difficulties. This wouldn't be an online webinar without some kind of technical issue. But thanks for joining us, Nicole. This will be a fun conversation with us, I guess, unless other people jump in. Wanted to just kind of give you an idea of what we do and kind of how the school was founded, and kind of talk about our mission, some of the things that we find to be really important in the world. And the fun thing about what we do is that it always connects us with, I always think of people that join us in this are really kindred spirits in wanting something similar. So looking forward to that connection, and we'll get to know each other during this and talk a little bit about the school and some of the courses we offer and the things we do. So we'll start with some introductions. So Becky, Mom, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Becky Curtis, and I am the founder and CEO of Pain Coach Academy. And I started this with Take Courage Coaching, which is something I'll talk about in a few minutes here. But that's who I am.
And I'm Paul Curtis, and as you probably guessed, I'm her son. And it's been a really fun journey. I started out just kind of helping her with basic things when she first started the company, and I've kind of moved up in my confidence and my coaching ability and all that kind of stuff to where I'm now the program director. And I always thought it was pretty neat what Mom has done with a pretty difficult story and a difficult experience. And I just really enjoy helping other people, doing what I can to not only help the people that I coach, but also create a place where people can build a career that's really centered around, giving back. And usually, a lot of our students are people that have gone through a similar experience with chronic pain, where they've been able to turn something really terrible into a way to, help other people and a way to help others kind of crawl out of the pit. So that's a little about me. Like I said, I live in Laurel, Montana, and yeah, that's a little about me. And we'd love to hear from you, Nicole, and just if you could tell us a little about yourself and why you're interested in pain coaching.
Okay. Can I ask a question first?
Yeah,
Because I've kind of looked into this. I'm just mulling over the idea. And it seems like a lot of programs require, or seems like they require a background in something in healthcare. Is that necessary for this coaching program, or not necessarily?
No, the only prerequisites that we have in place to take the course are if you're going to take the advanced pain coach training, you have to have gone through an approved program, either ours or another program that is approved through the NBHWC. Or if you haven't gone through those, to be able to pass a coaching call with our rubric. So you would submit a coaching call and we'd grade it. And then based on that would determine whether you could enter the advanced training or not. So, yeah, other than that, there's really no prerequisites other than just a desire to
yeah, make a difference. Okay. So my history, it goes back a long way with pain. Was in a car accident when I was 25, rear-ended by a garbage truck, and the back pain from the top to the bottom, just came and went over the years, and was very much tied, although I didn't necessarily make the connection, tied to stressful situations in my life. I didn't totally make the connection, but it very much was. So I kind of dealt with that. And then in 2015, I had an ocular pain that is structural, but I think it's mind, body, and structural combined. I think it's a little of both. And so that really, took me for a tailspin, and I stopped working. I used to work in sales and category management and sales analysis. And I stopped working. I haven't worked in 8 years. And then last year, I was going on a trip to Costa Rica with my family. And right before that, there was a lot of change going on in my life. Major things, people moving that were really important to me, having a lot of, personal issues in my relationships, and my back started. And I was not able to go on the trip to Costa Rica with my husband and my kids. And in that time, that pain got worse and worse and worse, to the point where I had like feelings of electricity going down my arms. I was like kind of bedridden. I was on opioids, not for very long because I didn't want to be on them, but so anyways, I was like, I can't live my life like this. And I Googled recovery. I was diagnosed with myofascial pain syndrome. You look up any of these diagnoses and they just sound awful and they're lifelong. And, so I Googled chronic pain recovery, and learned about John Sarno and this whole like network of doctors and coaches and pain therapists. And, that began my journey over the next year. And, I follow all these podcasts, and I've met with I've had my own pain coach, and I've had my own pain therapist, and I've done a program through Kaiser. And it was just so eye-opening. And I felt like I had no idea. Like that it was, it's not all in my head, but it was coming from my brain. So anyways, I started to get better. It took a long time, started to get better. And now I'm starting to get more symptoms again. And I was like, getting frustrated, the same path. So anyways, I started, what am I going to do with my life? And I think a big part of why I'm having a hard time getting past my symptoms is that because I don't work and my son is going off to college, and, my life is becoming smaller and I want it to become bigger. I want to have more purpose. Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I wanted to, understand what this program is about and see if it might be a good fit for me to give a try.
What a beautiful place to start.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate you sharing that story, Nicole. I just get goosebumps every time because the stories are all different, but they all kind of lead to the same thing. It starts with like really catastrophic thing that happened in your life, in your case, a car accident. And if you learn to harness it, you learn to do something with it, it leads you to all these really neat things that teach you something about life, and you learn a lot through it. So Becky's story is a lot like that too. And I'll let you tell your story now, Mom.
Okay, well, I was in a rollover car accident 19 and a half years ago. So almost 20 years ago, I fell asleep while driving, overcorrected, and rolled 100 yards. And when the car came to a stop, I knew that I had broken my neck. Couldn't feel anything from the neck down. Anyway, there were a lot of really good things that happened. The ambulance driver and his wife had just purchased an extraction device for the ambulance, and it's a tiny little town in the middle of Montana where I had my accident, and they just happened to have an extraction device. They got me out of the car, got me into the ambulance without severing my spinal cord, and took me to Butte, which I can never even imagine saying I've been in a terrible accident, please take me to Butte, but that's where they took me. And they knew that the best neurosurgeon in the state was there. He was also on duty that night, and they fused my neck, took all the shards of bone out, and then started all the hard work. I had to start all the hard work of learning to walk again, learning to function with partial paralysis on my left, and I can't feel on my right. Spasticity, which is, when you see somebody who's had a stroke, and their hand is curled, that's what I have on my left side. And I was making really good progress when 2 years out, I developed burning nerve pain from my neck down. And I was already dealing with pins and needles from the neck down, electrical pain on my left side, and all of that. And I was doing okay with that. But this central nerve pain from the neck down, how does somebody live through something like that? It's
Yeah.
just, I didn't feel like it was going to be possible for me. And I was at that point, my doctor and we tried all kinds of different meds. By the time the meds are high enough to do anything about my real central pain, I'm not functioning. And so he finally sent me to a functional restoration program in San Mateo, California, where I learned that pain is an experience. And there's many different things I can do to manage my experience of pain. And I think, Nicole, they're probably all the things that you learned as well. Um, calming my amygdala, exercising, keeping my mind in the right place, paying attention to my automatic negative thoughts, humor, breathing from the diaphragm, all those things. And I got home from the functional restoration program, and I'm a very driven, you can ask my family, very driven, very well supported person. My husband and I met when we were 16, and I was surrounded with a lot of good support. My kids were wonderful, my sisters, I have a good support system. But the 12 people that I was in that program with, the several of them that I followed up with, they were not in the same place that I was in. They went home and they really struggled with making the real behavioral changes that they'd started realized in their life. And so I decided at that point that I wanted to spend the rest of my life helping people with chronic pain. The darkest time for me was the chronic pain. It wasn't the paralysis, it wasn't the disability, it was the chronic pain. And so I think you know that story. So I decided that coaching was the missing link. That support, that support in their home where they're going to be making the real changes, not in the medical center, but in their home. And that our program is completely telephonic. And it's for that reason, because it's really easy to do things while you're supported in the medical facility, but when you get home, that's where it's hard.
Right.
And so that my dream was to really give support to people, and support and education, and empower them to make the real changes they needed to make these changes lifelong. This is a lifelong thing, not just a few weeks or whatever. So that's what we did. And we're in 46 states. We've coached mostly workers' comp. I've had an 8-year VA contract. We work with a lot of companies that love hiring our coaches, specifically because we are, when you go through our program, you can be any kind of health and wellness coach, but you will have specific training in chronic pain as well.
Okay.
We're a special group, aren't we, Nicole?
Yeah. Yes.
As chronic pains.
I can say that, like, I was struggling. Like, what happened for me is I would listen to recovery stories. I also use the Curable app. I would listen to recovery stories, and I would feel some release of my pain while I was listening to the stories. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane, right? And then it would come back, it would never stay away. And then, this is going on for a long time. And I finally decided, I was contemplating seeing a pain therapist. And one day I made that appointment, and I made an appointment with the pain physical therapist at Kaiser. And it's like the next day my pain started to go away. And when I talked to the pain physical therapist, she was like, I'm not surprised, because it's like your brain felt that it needed support to get through
Yes.
this. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, you can listen to the podcast, but sometimes you need actual human interaction. And it was letting go of that idea that I can do this on my own, that I actually need some help.
That's so beautiful. And what a wonderful coach you will be.
I hope.
Just understanding that as humans we're made to have support, and I think chronic pain is so isolating.
Yes.
And a lot of times you feel like, oh, nobody has any idea what I'm going through. From the outside, I look okay.
Yes.
But on the inside, I'm a wreck.
Yeah.
And so having someone that understands that and can walk alongside you and give you that support is magic.
Yeah. Well, you sure have a story. So I hope that you don't live your life in that type of pain anymore. And that's wonderful. Yeah.
I still have pain. I still have central nerve pain, but it doesn't have me.
Okay.
It's in the trunk, and I rarely think about it. I do have days where when things are really stressful, I feel it, I notice it, but I have all the tools that I need to manage it, and and to put it in the background, and just I have a very healthy, very happy life, and I'm very grateful.
Very inspiring.
Thank you. Your story as well. So it has been my dream that someday pain management coaching would be standard of care for people who go through catastrophic injuries. That it would just be, oh, yep, this person needs a coach. And imagine what would have happened if right away somebody would have taught you about the brain and pain and about your automatic negative thoughts and what happens when you have an automatic negative thought. That stress hormone increases and your muscle tension increases. Oh, just if somebody could have come in right away and giving you, let you know that finding cures outside of yourself are futile, and that there are lots of things inside of you that, when you're actively paying attention to your thoughts, and when you're when you're exercising, and when you have laughter in your life, all of those things, if that would have happened right away, how wonderful it would have been. And I know for me, some wasted years there, fighting and struggling and trying to find a cure and trying to find a pill and maybe a surgery and maybe a spinal cord stimulator, whatever. So that is been my goal and my vision from the beginning. And what we want to do is we want to empower coaches to work with people to escape that grip of chronic pain. And that goal has been realized. We've trained quite a few coaches. I wish I knew the number. Someday, Paul, we need to figure out what that number is.
Yeah, it's probably close to a couple hundred, something like that.
Yeah.
150 plus, something like that.
So that is who we are. And Paul will explain further the classes, but feel free to just stop us with any questions or comments along the way here.
Okay.
So, yeah, what is pain coaching? So, Becky talked a little bit about, kind of the big picture vision of what she had. And so part of that story was, this need was created to train coaches. And it was right around the time that the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaches came into existence. And we were one of the very first approved programs that was actually approved and accredited through the NBHWC. And it's been really fun. We feel like we have a really fun niche. It's coaching health and wellness, clients, someone who wants to lose weight or someone who wants to exercise more. That in itself can be challenging. It can be a challenging practice. And chronic pain is, coaching someone in chronic pain is kind of the next, it's a little bit of a level up, because people are very, very down. They feel very disempowered. They don't feel like they have power and control in their life, and they don't really understand their own potential. So that means that our coaches really need to feel confident, to feel competent in how, how do we work through all these big barriers and challenges with somebody in a way that empowers them to take those active steps and to be, more in control of their own experience. So some of the, I guess, the foundational things that we really equip coaches with is giving them sort of a, kind of the big picture of what are some tools that really help people in chronic pain. And a lot of times, our students come into the school already knowing a lot of this stuff. They have their own experience, but we really try to help them expand that so they can, feel confident in not just introducing tools, but doing it in a way that empowers the client, so that it's not just the same, I guess, the same challenge that's been keeping them stuck. A lot of times the challenge that keeps people stuck is feeling like, well, somebody else has the answer for me and I just have to go find it outside of myself. And last thing we want to do is to, put someone in a place where they continue that pattern. We want to really empower them to be the ones that explore all this stuff and empower them to be the experts on their own pain. So we teach coaches how to empower others to be the experts, rather than the coach being the expert on things. Another part of it is, helping people shift their mindset, from a place of kind of a disempowered victim that doesn't really have any control over life, to someone who has purpose and meaning, someone who understands their strengths and really knows what they're meant to do in the world. It goes a long way. So, hey, Jennifer, welcome back.
Thank you.
So we also talk about, we have a lot of classes that have to do with, talking about the different, the pain science behind a lot of what we do, and sort of informs why we go about things the way we do in the coaching. So that's another piece of the program. We help clients discover resilience to their pain. So, sort of uncovering their own hidden strengths, things that maybe they forgot were there, or maybe they've kind of laid dormant for a while, their joy that's been kind of locked in the closet for a while, or their compassion that they haven't really been able to use because they're in such a rough place emotionally, where they can't really express that and use it. Tapping into mindfulness and self-compassion, and just, in general, helping people break free of the fear pain cycle that tends to go kind of in a loop sometimes. So those are some of the, the main foundational principles. And we really educate coaches in a lot of the well-proven best practices of coaching. So, we very heavily lean into motivational interviewing. And I'll talk more about that when we go over the curriculum together. But that's the kind of the gist of what pain coaching is. And was there anything I missed there, Mom?
I don't think so. It sounds good.
All right. Any questions or anything on that?
No.
All right. We'll talk about the study.
Sure. Yeah. So we had some researchers that took all of our data from all the clients that we'd worked with over the years. I had been using the non-VA pain outcomes questionnaire, which measures all kinds of different things like activities of daily living, pain on a scale of 1 to 10, negative affect, fear avoidance, all kinds of different things that happen when we have chronic pain. And you can see this first scale here. It's the baseline, and the at 6 months you can see that things are starting to move in a good direction. And then at 12 months you can see that those scores are going way down. So when I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this, but as the disability goes down and the function goes up, the numbers come down when we give them this this POQ. And so you can see that we are moving mountains here with our coaching. We are taking people that have massive amounts of disability and pain and little bit of function, and we're by the end of our 12-month program they're having so much more purpose, meaning, function, and that's a really good thing. So that was really exciting to see that published in PLOS One. And so yeah, it looks like we lost Jennifer again.
I'm sorry, where was this published?
It was published in a PLOS One.
Oh, I see.
And,
down here.
yeah, and you can actually go to the study. There's a link there. I think, do we send her these? Can we send her these slides so she can go to the study?
I can put this in the chat if you want to.
Oh yeah, that's a
the
good
easiest.
idea.
If I can copy it, I thought I could, but maybe not.
So one thing about this study is that they took all of our data. They did not ask me. There was a few things they didn't ask me. They didn't ask me, how come everybody doesn't do the full year? Well, not everybody's insurance covers the full year. Not everybody needs the full year. Some people get 3 months in and they're back to work and they're back to life and off their opioids and doing great.
Yeah.
And so it looks like, when you read the study, it looks like we had a large dropout rate. We do have some that drop out, but we do also have people that don't need the full year. So but it was really exciting to see the study and to see our data in this graphic was very exciting. Did you get it copied?
I just was writing down a little bit of the citation.
Oh, okay.
I'm good. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
All right. So there's a couple things we offer. A couple things that aren't listed here, but the main courses we offer are our health and wellness coach training. So that's for people that aren't board certified yet. So like I said, we're accredited through the NBHWC, the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaches, as an approved program. So in order to sit for the board exam, you need to go through training with an accredited program.
Mm-hmm.
And the requirement to keep that certification is every 3 years, you need 36 CEUs. And so our advanced pain coach training fulfills all those 36 continuing education units to keep your certification through, those 3 years. So there are things that go, trainings that go pretty well hand in hand, help you keep your cert. And also, the advanced pain coach training just helps coaches take things to the next level and really get trained in the more of the mastery, kind of taking things to a masterful level of coaching. So, and I would imagine, Nicole, are you more interested in the health and wellness coach training? Would that be kind of the?
I mean, to start, yeah. I mean, I think I'd have to go that route, right? Yeah.
Sure.
But you're able to coach after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way most people do it is they'll go through our accredited program, and then they'll sit for the exam. They'll take the board exam right afterwards, and then you're a board certified coach after that. That's kind of the path to that. As far as like upcoming classes, we have one that starts really soon here on September 30, and that runs from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday and Wednesday. And it's a 17-week program. So I don't know the date off the top of my head that'll run through, but I think it runs into early February, I want to say, something like that. So it's a very, very intensive course, but also one that is we really try to pace it. And most programs are kind of in that like 15 to 20 week range where, we try to give you a good amount of time to absorb the material we're teaching.
Mhm.
That's always hard when you get a lot of information all at once. It takes some time to absorb. So, we run it over 17 weeks. And then our advanced pain coach training is, we have one starting in February, and that's a 12-week course. So I'll go over the curriculum here just to give you an idea of some of the things we teach. We really try to start out with the foundation, which is coaching theory and some of the different theories that are the foundation of what we do. And so, obviously people get into this because of their heart, right? Their empathy, they're wanting to like do something to kind of give back to others. And that's the foundation. I really think of that as the foundation, but it is important to have kind of an idea of what communication strategies do we have to really help people that are in a rough place. So we go over, the stages of change, also known as the trans-theoretical model. And then we have we have 7 classes on motivational interviewing, which is kind of the gold standard for, I think of it as the gold standard as a form of communication with people who are usually ambivalent about change. Maybe they really would love to get back to work, or they'd love to get off their opioids, or they'd love to, be more engaged with family, but they just don't feel like they can. And motivational interviewing is a way to meet someone in a non-judgmental way and just connect with who they are rather than trying to fix what's quote unquote wrong with them and help them move towards positive change in their life. You also see we have some classes on, the pain, brain, and neuroplasticity, the mind-body connection. So those are also foundational in understanding, how does the human organism work? How does our nervous system work? How does our brain work? And we also, we have some other classes on listening, mindfulness, and presence. So just developing our listening abilities and our mindful abilities in a way that really leads to good coaching sessions. We have, a class about culture and how to really connect with the strengths each person has culturally. And we also have a class on addiction, the science of addiction, self-compassion, automatic thoughts, and you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff that follows that. One of the foundational things that we found to be really helpful for people in pain, because it is such an isolating existence sometimes, is group coaching. And that's really our bread and butter. That's where the magic happens, is in groups.
Mm-hmm.
So in this course, we have kind of an abbreviated version of, you're going to get to do some group coaching. And then in our advanced training, we really go in depth into group coaching and get students very proficient in group coaching. So there's also, physical activity and chronic pain, coach burnout, and then our content 3 stuff, which is a lot of the biometrics. So the, kind of the facts and figures you'll need to pass the board exam. So that's kind of the gist of it. There's a lot there, but Nicole, for you, are there any of these classes that kind of stand out as like, oh, I'm really interested in learning about that specifically?
Well, the introduction to motivational interviewing, I feel like I mean, I've always the pain, brain, and neuroplasticity, mind body connection. I've like delved into that a lot myself, but like, how do you teach that to someone else without sounding like you're a little bit like I don't know, fluffy? Do you know what I'm saying? Like if I sometimes bring it up with my friends, they're like, oh yeah, you have a friend who's going through a lot of body pains, and if I tell her this stuff, she's like, keeps going back to what the structural thing is in her body. And I'm like, you didn't injure yourself. You're just going through a very stressful, that you have no injury. So I feel like a lot of that is mind-body connection. And I think sometimes people are really closed off to that idea. So I know that one of the things is creating an evidence list. Is one of the things people do to kind of like remind themselves that, you know, and in your case, Becky, you know, you actually do have structural issue, but there's a component of it that is not, you know, so that's what this helps, you know. So anyways, you know, knowing how to, you know, talk through that stuff with someone, but I think the motivational interviewing sounds really interesting. Also the active listening. But I do have a question. So when you talk about getting started with your clients, does someone graduating from this program typically just start their own business and like, you know, create a website and try and get some clients and start self-promoting? Or is there a different path, you know, one can take, different companies you can apply for, or, you know, I don't even know where you would start after this program.
A great question. Yeah, there's a couple different ways people do it. Some people are very adventurous and they just go all in and try to start their own company, which is challenging. You know, I'll say it's hard to start your own coaching business, but it's very doable. You know, a lot of people have done it. It's kind of the slow route to income, I would say. Like it takes a little while to get everything in place and make things happen. Becky knows, starting hers in was that 2009 when you started TCC? So that's one route. The other route is to work for a lot of there's a lot of really good coaching companies that are out there right now. Karuna Labs is someone who hires a lot of our coaches. In fact, they prefer our coaches. Override is
the first one.
Karuna Labs. And I can throw these in the chat as I'm saying them, so you have them. Sometimes it's hard to spell them. Override is another one that actually, so Take Courage Coaching, which was my mom's coaching business, is now owned by Override, which is a kind of how would you describe it, Mom?
Well, it's a company that they are doing coaching for chronic pain, but they also have a pain doctor, a pain psychologist, a PT, and a coach all working together with the patients, and it's all done virtually. They're only in 9 states right now, but they exclusively hire our coaches.
Okay.
So, you know, we have about 6 companies, and if you were to ask me what those are, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but you know, I get requests for, you know, hey, do you have another coach that we could hire from? Oh yeah, Paul's putting those in the, yeah, there's quite a few companies that really respect what we're doing and really like our coaches. So you know, no guarantees what'll happen in the next, you know, year or whatever with coaching, but we are right on the cusp. The NBHWC has been working on CPT codes for coaching, and we're real close to having medical insurance pay for pain management coaching.
Well, that's like the other thing is like what I've found, and my pain coach worked for Lynn Health and privately. I think she may have gone through your program. Anyways, what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. I think one of the biggest issues I see here is that unless there's a lot of people who would benefit from this type of coaching, but are on disability.
Yeah.
And don't have the funds, or maybe aren't on disability, but just don't have the funds. Right. And I kind of felt like I was in that boat to some degree. And it was really difficult to, you know, that's why it was difficult for me to say, I need the help, because I felt very strongly and kind of angry about it. I felt like my insurance should cover it.
Yeah.
And they did cover a program, but it wasn't enough. You know, I was kind of surprised Kaiser did have a program, but it still wasn't enough.
Right.
So anyway,
we're working on that. We're
Yeah.
trying to change the world one 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 day at a time, one client at a time. So
I love it. It should be that way.
And you know, one of the really cool things, if you're looking to, and you know, I should say, like, some people do a combination of this where they'll work for override. Some, you know, they'll coach some clients through override while they're working on their own business and kind of bringing things up.
Mhm.
So you can do a mix of both, and that's what most people do, is they have their own
Mhm.
business, also work for one of these companies. And oh, what was I going to say there? Oh, the beauty of group coaching. So you mentioned, Nicole, you mentioned you know, the challenge of people not being able to afford coaching. When you get, like, you know, 7, 8 people into a group, it becomes very affordable for people. And
Yeah,
it's also more profitable for the coach. You know, it's kind of win-win, and it's more powerful. I mean, I
it
love
is
one-on-one
magic.
coaching. One-on-one coaching is great. It does a lot of great things. But usually by the end of the program, people say the group was the most powerful part of it.
Mhm.
yeah. I think there's something really powerful about being with other people who are going through a similar experience. So I've gone through two like pain classes, one through UCSF in San Francisco for my eyes, and then one through Kaiser for my whole myofascial pain syndrome. And the first time around, I didn't get it, right? It didn't help me, but I did, like, I looked forward to going just to be around people who understood where I was at, you know, because no one in my, again, your eyes, people don't understand. They can't see that you're in an incredible amount of pain, like a 9 or a 10, you know, at times where I felt like I didn't want to live my life anymore just because of my eyes. It was so bad, but you can't see it, right? And they're like, you look fine. You
Mhm.
know? I'm like, well, I don't wear goggles for fun. You know, I have to wear protective eyewear. And at the time, I wore these really horrible ones that had a rubber gasket in them. They were just really bad. But people would say, you look fine. And to your point, like, it's all on the inside, right? You can't really explain.
Yeah.
So I do see that the group coaching could be very beneficial for sure.
Yeah, we live in such a world of separation, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's so distant, you know, and group is something that just, it brings people together in a way that is really healing. You know, it's a missing piece for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, and then our advanced curriculum, um, we have a class on, like, why group coaching. So I teach a class on, you know, kind of the importance of group coaching. Why is this effective, and how do we do it? How do we actually form a group and make it work? We have a class on the pain client, so that's, you know, talking about some of the challenges and strategies for coaching someone who is, you know, in the midst of a lot of pain and they're down in the pit. We have a lot of group practicums woven in, so every Thursday is a 1 hour group practicum through this whole 12-week course. So there's 12 group coaching courses. The Tuesday classes are a 2 hour class, so that's stuff like the pain client, the brain pain connection, navigating discord and sustained talk, reducing stress and fear. So all these are meant to really um, help coaches take it to the next level. And the way we do that is, it's not just a pure lecture where I'm up there, or an instructor is up there, um, you know, talking about the topic, but we're really getting in depth in practicing these things together. And so, you know, I'll practice being a pain client for a while and let people coach me, and we just kind of you know, develop our skills in that way. And it's kind of a group setting where we're all kind of learning together and bouncing ideas off each other. All of our instructors are pain coaches themselves. They're all people that have coached in this realm for a long time. So
Mhm.
we really value having instructors that are well versed in this and really have, you know, on the ground experience with coaching people in pain. So any questions on any of that, or any thoughts, Nicole?
No.
Some of the benefits of going through the program. we are, as I said, approved through the NBHWC. We just got our 2024 report. Every year they send us a report on how our students did when they sat for the board exam. And so here you'll see our percentage. This year we got 100% pass rate.
Mm-hmm.
We're really proud of 2023. I think we had the most students we've ever had go through our course that year. I think it was 62 students.
Mm-hmm.
And of the 62, I think 58 of them passed. So there were a few that had to retake the test, but out of that many students, we're pretty proud of that number. I think the mean average for NBHWC is 91% of students usually pass the exam. So we're pretty consistently 100% across the board. So we're pretty proud of that. And we really work hard to get students prepared so they feel really, really confident going into the exam. One of the benefits of going through the program is we give you a virtual exam prep course that you can take on your own time. It helps, just helps people prep for the exam. We are the only school that I know of that has a chronic pain focus specifically. There's some schools that do touch on chronic conditions a little bit, but we are, as far as I know, the only chronic pain really centered approved program.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to have pretty small class sizes. It does vary. There's some classes that are 5, 6, 7 people. There's some that are, we just had one that was 16 students. But we do try to cap our classes and keep them small. Find that it's much easier to learn if it's interactive and it's not just a lecture telling you, about a topic, but that the class should be engaged right in what's going on. It should be very conversational. So we try to keep our class sizes small for that reason. And we do a lot of mentoring. That's a big part of what we do. I know when I was learning to coach, I needed a lot of mentoring. So built into both our health and wellness course and our advanced training is, 3 mentoring sessions with a, really advanced instructor. And they progressively help you work through just building skills. And it's done through, you submit a recorded coaching call. The instructor grades it, gives you a lot of detailed feedback on it, and then helps you kind of move to, okay, let's, now that you've done this, let's take it to the next level. And we really believe in building on people's strengths rather than trying to, correct what's wrong. We will give you some constructive feedback on, hey, you could do this a little better next time. But we really try to help coaches understand their own core strengths. So, for some people, it's going to be their empathy,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to really encourage them, lead with your empathy. It might be humor. We have some people that are just very funny naturally, and we help foster that. It might be, it can be a lot of things. It might be their relatability. They just have a really great way of relating to people in pain. So we help foster that. So whatever that coach's strengths are, we really try to build them up in that. We also have a really fun event for alumni called Pain Coach Fridays. So the first Friday of every month, we just all get together and just have a little, I don't know, it's a little pain coach party basically, where we just hang out, talk about what we're learning. I never really have a structure to it. It's just like, hey, what do you guys want to talk about today? And we just see where it goes. And some coaches bring some of the obstacles they're facing in their coaching. Like, hey, I'm working with a client. This is going on. What would you guys do? Or it might be, hey, I read a book about this and I thought this topic was really interesting. We'll talk about that. Sky's the limit. We just kind of leave it open to whatever people want to explore. And it's a really fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
We also have an alumni.
I'm just curious.
That is at noon. It would be 11 a.m. your time on Fridays.
Okay.
Yeah, first Friday of every month. So
okay.
And then we have a really vibrant Slack community. So Slack is this platform that we communicate on, and so we have a channel for alumni where they can network and do the same thing, right? Talk about what they're learning, promote their businesses and the things they're doing. So it's a way for us just to band together and really create a network for people that are looking to, to do pain coaching in the world. So, but yeah, those are some of the benefits.
That sounds good. Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
No, I was just gonna like the payment and the pricing and
yeah. Yeah, so for attending this info session, we'll give you a 10% discount. So the discount code for that is fall info 2024, and that's good for 10% off the course. I have the wrong date on there. Sorry about that. It's I needed to update that. The registration deadline is usually a week before the class starts. That would be September 23 is the soft cutoff. We always work with people if there's any circumstances or whatever, but that's generally the cutoff. So that 10% discount gives you $490 off the health and wellness course, or $599 off the bundle. Bundle together the health and wellness course and the advanced training, and you get a pretty good discount. We do have some payment options. I should have a slide for that on here. I don't think I do. There's like I think it's a 4 payment, or what is it? Do you know off the top of your head what the breakdown is? We have it on the web. Yeah, we have it on the website. I'm not a numbers person at all, so I always forget what the exact breakdown is, but we have a few different financing options for people too. So
okay. You said it begins on September 30th?
That's right. Yep.
Now, if I'm not able to attend a session, are they recorded?
Good question. Yeah, all the classes are recorded, and you can miss up to 6 of the classes. So there is some leeway there if you can't make it to every class. They are all recorded, so you can go back and watch the recordings and catch up. So inevitably in 17 weeks, like you're gonna, it's gonna be
well, it's like the actual first class. I'm traveling that day.
Okay.
Like I'll be at the airport, so it's not even like I could take it. Yeah,
and that first class is just kind of here's where everything is, here's how you do all this stuff. So not a huge deal if you miss that one. You're not going to be missing a lot of core concepts.
But it will be recorded still.
Okay. It's recorded. So that's about all we have. Do you have any other questions, Nicole, or?
No, I was hoping it didn't start that soon. That's all. When would the next course be? Would it be like, after we in the winter?
We're going to be moving to more of a we had been running things about twice a year. And we're going to be moving to more of a once a year type of approach. So it'll be sometime kind of early summer or late spring of next year when we'd run our next course. So probably May or June, somewhere in there would be the start of that one.
Okay. So I just have to talk about it with my husband and whatnot. So yeah, no, I mean, this is really good. Thank you. I'm definitely interested.
Well, and Nicole, whether you decide to, take the program or not, we really love just supporting people any way we can and in what they're wanting to do. If it involves chronic pain, it's definitely our thing. So, feel free to stay in contact. Even if you don't decide to do the program, we'd love to help you find the right thing one way or another, whatever you decide to do. So
thank you. Thank you very much. So I don't even know what's today's date. Today's the 18th. Okay, so I have a few days to figure it out. I'm moving my son to college on Friday. So that's been top of mind.
Yes.
And then, I was like, wait, now what am I gonna do? So I still have one left at home, but still. Okay, well, yeah, I have a lot to think about in the next few days, so I appreciate it. If I have any questions, should I reach out to you, Paul?
Yeah, please reach out. Give me a call. My phone number's here if you want to
Oh, I didn't write down.
call, or you can email me either way.
Yeah.
Talk to you about whatever. So
It was really nice to meet you, Nicole. And like Paul said, whatever direction you go, I hope everything goes really well for you. It sounds like you have some wonderful start to really being helpful to people with pain. So
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for this session. It was really good. Yeah, I just have to put some thought to it, and I'll
yeah,
get back to you.
that sounds good. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you have a good day.
You too.
All right. Take
All
care,
right,
Nicole.
bye.
Bye.